What's up? What is good, everyone? Welcome back to ACS Universe. What's going on, guys?
Just chilling.
So it's Friday.
Yeah.
Today has sucked balls.
I think you
Yes.
just put it perfectly. For a lot of us here. Let's see. Miracle Socials in the house. Say, what's up, y'all? Hope all is well. Yeah, we're moving, man. We're moving. So, how you guys doing today, man? I already know Scott. How you doing? Yeah. You got anything you want to say about it? Or you?
So, I mean, God damn it. And it was a bad day.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Look, here's the thing. Obviously, there's some stuff we might get to. If we don't get to it, I really don't care if we do or not. There's something that happened early today, and I think it might have happened yesterday, but I think we were all notified this morning. Look, man, when it comes to comic books and the media that comes with it, where you're talking about TV shows, movies, things of that nature that we all like to the content that we consume as fans, man, it's always a thing when you look at some of these characters that we love, man, and you see them and you've seen them since you were very young, and it's almost like you say, like, Spider-Man will be here forever, man. Superman, he'll be here forever. All these characters, they'll be here forever, man. A Batman will be here forever. But sometimes, man, it kind of slips your mind just a bit. You might forget at a certain, point in time that the women and men who bring these characters to life for us, breathe life into them, whether you're talking about behind the scenes, in front of the camera, behind the camera, voicing these characters, man. Sometimes you forget that they won't be here forever. And we go through things where we see people pass, Carrie Fisher, stuff like that, man. It's just the actor passes that literally that character for you as you've watched them over the years, that was them, right? And there's no shortness of that here when it comes to Kevin Conroy, who he is Batman for all of us, right? And he might not have been the first live action. You had Adam West and things of that nature, or Michael Keaton and stuff. But when the Batman animated series, which is the gold standard of animated series by any means, I don't care what. What medium you like to watch, the best animated series I've ever watched of all time, and that set the standard for me going forward, was Batman animated series, man. And Kevin brought that to life. So I think, it's hard when you see it happen. And this is how we do it, man. We'll have a conversation about Kevin, man, and the contribution that he's made to not only Batman, but to everything. I've never met the man in person, and obviously I never will get to. But everyone who has always had the same thing to say about this guy. He's genuine, caring, loving, the nicest person that you ever meet. And apparently he's been sick for a little while, and today we got the news, man. And I'll start this Joey, what'd you think, man, when you saw the news today?
I mean, it was kind of, I was kind of shell shocked because it was literally the first thing I saw when I woke up, and it was like, I don't know, like I don't use the phrase like right in the childhood like loosely. Like it was literally like gut punch right to the childhood, because you look at this, like you see him like as he is, and as an actor and as a voice actor, and it's like it doesn't like get much better than legendary, but then Kevin Conroy somehow found a way to escalate that. Like he went above and beyond when it comes to Batman, to the point where, like, I remember like watching an interview with him like years ago, before I had ever put like thought into, oh, there's actually like a person who does the voice of Batman. Like growing up, it was always just like, I don't know who does this, but it must be like a computer, because this is too perfect to be anybody. So just the fact that like something that legendary and like just iconic was taken from us. And it's like, you know, everybody's saying like he wasn't that old, and it's like it's weird to think about, because it's because like he's been around forever, but it's also just like he's kind of just getting, you know, into the, like, he's only in his 60s, so it's just I don't know, a lot of emotions going on this morning. But no, it was I did appreciate seeing everybody, you know, share their memories and thoughts, and just how he impacted like their, you know, their lives and their childhood. And like, just like you said, like, you know, everybody who ever met him, it's like he was never he's never rude, never, you know, standoffish. He was rarely, if ever, you know, like, never heard anything about him being problematic. So it's just like he just it's crazy how he, you know, someone just, again, as legendary, can just be just gone. But yeah.
Good words, man. Good words, man. That's unfortunately, that's, you know, that's the world we live in, man. Where you at times, and there's still people out there that I love, and that have done these types of things so much, that are still with us, that I am very afraid of the time when, you know, when that comes. So Scott, man, how did it hit you today, man?
You know, it was one of the situations where, and I ended up having to like record on Patreon just because I had to exercise the feelings at one point. And it was like after 9 o'clock, I got to sleep in today off, and I was sitting down to have breakfast with my family, and my phone starts blowing up because Squadcast guys are like, guys, have you heard about this Kevin Con? Like, do we have any links or sources? Because we all like immediately were like, bullshit meter. What's going on? Why hasn't this actually been reported yet? And it actually seeing a tweet from Zaki Hassan, who had a Facebook post from Diane Pershing, who was the voice of Poison Ivy. That's who I saw. And when I saw that, I was like, damn. And because once I saw that she had posted it, and then to make matters better / worse is because I'm on the press release email list for Warner Brothers Animation, and they sent out a freaking 2-page press release. Like, it was like, here is Warner Brothers DC, we're sending out a freaking 2-page obituary press release of Kevin Conroy, if that gives you any idea, like, what he means to this brand. And just reading that was just like, you know, it just the language wanted to fly. And then I looked at the year he was born, and I realized he's freaking age as my dad. And that just made me go, fuck. You know, it's like, he's not like Joey, like you were saying, he's not that old. He's 66. He was going to be 67 at the end of the month. And he had just posted Twitter Halloween. You know, he was always just, he loved being the character. He loved being associated with the character. He's been flipping playing the guy for 30 years. And then I stopped and did the math. Like, literally, I think I was live on, you know, recording when it hit me. The man's been Batman literally 75% of my life. 75% of my existence on this planet. This man has been playing Batman. Because the animated series debuted when I was 10 and a half years old. And he has been Batman. If I ever wanted to be a complete dick and be like a whole not my Batman kind of guy, and I was almost there a little bit whenever they would do animated projects and Kevin Conroy wasn't the voice of Batman. I was, what's the point? Like what was Kevin busy? Like what? And it just got to the point that was like, every time a different voice actor would voice Batman, I'm sorry, you had to at least attempt to live up to Kevin Conroy, because
Yeah.
every voice of Batman will forever be judged by the standard that is Mr. Conroy. And the dude nailed it. And then to watch him live his life for all those 30 years and honor that, and the way that he behaved, and the way that he talked about the character, the way that he talked about the fans, the way he talked about the role. The 11 story is always one of, I remember the day I first heard that story, and I to this day have loved that story and how it ends with the whole idea. So how does it feel to be Santa Claus, when he was able to lighten the load of all those first responders at the Twin Tower site as he was cooking, and they all just lost their shit when they realized that Batman kitchen. It just tells you the impact he had as the character, that grown-ass men. I mean, he was the voice of a fucking cartoon, and I have lost my shit today. Like, my day was ruined today because he's no longer with us, over a after-school cartoon from when I was 10 and older. But that was the impact he had. And the best part is he knew it. That's the one thing, is that he knew how much he meant to us, and we as fans never forgot to remind him what he meant to us, and you could tell he knew. So there's part of me that goes, at least he wasn't one of these underappreciated types. It's like, no, the dude knew what he meant.
Knew we loved him. Yes, he did.
He knew we loved him as fans, and he had his family, he had his husband, he had his brother and his sister who were still around, and so he had family, and he was loved in that way. His fans were able to show love and appreciation for what he gave to us, and for some of us, like me, gave me the DC fandom I have today. If it was not for Batman the Animated Series, I'm not even talking about being a Batman fan. I wouldn't be the DC fan I was today if it was for that show. And as I said earlier today, and even with the way that show was done, if Kevin wasn't there to make that role work the way he did, to make me fucking cry watching a cartoon, it wouldn't have the same impact.
No, I 1000% feel you, man. It's dude, I and it's crazy because it was, when I was thinking about when this happened, and I already knew I was going to go live this evening or whatever, but we had a couple things, and then that happened, and all of that stuff just went straight to the back burner as far as how important it was for me to talk about. But that's one of the things, man, is to have this legion of people who are just like, yo, this is that's what I'm saying. Like, just scroll your timeline, man. We are in a thing where, like, the people we follow, and we might not all follow the same people, but we follow the majority of the same people and things like that. So you're gonna see a lot of the same posts, and to see the outpouring of just love, man, going up the timeline. It's just speaks to Kevin's character, and just the fact that, like Scott was saying, he knew, and he treated. It's almost it's with great power comes great responsibility. He knew that he was responsible for Batman, as far as just like the kids who started watching it when the show first started to now, and in between. He treated it as though, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he treated that as if it was a part of his family, if you want to take it that way, with a lot of responsibility, man. Phil, what you got for us, man? How did it hit you today?
I'm not okay. I really don't know how to articulate it, but I'm going to try my best. I mean, Scott, you mentioned that he'd been Batman 75% of your life. He's been Batman my entire life. I am as old as Batman the Animated Series, and from the time that I could even just visually visualize and see Batman, it's been his version of Batman. It was his version of Batman. It was Adam West's version of Batman, coinciding when I was growing up, coming home after school and seeing reruns of that, and then sitting down and watching the premiere of Batman Beyond and seeing him take on the role of old man Bruce Wayne and mentoring Terry McGinnis as Batman. And just and even now, when I got into college and discovered the Arkham games and having him reprise the role there, and just giving this enormous amount of gravitas and weight and levity to this version of this character that's just so iconic. Like I'm right there with you. I would not be the DC fan I am if not for Batman the animated series and Kevin Conroy's turn on the character. And when it comes to the voice acting of Batman, like there is the top of the bar is always going to be Kevin Conroy. Like they're good luck surpassing it. Like there are other great actors who have turned in good performances as Batman. Like I can think of Bruce Greenwood. I can think of Peter Weller. Like I love Peter Weller's turn in The Dark Knight Returns, right? Or even Jensen Ackles more recently. But at the same time, it's like you guys are good. Kevin Conroy was the best, and he was the best for a reason. And that news broke me today. Like it bummed me out. It ruined my day, and I had to power through a phone interview that I managed to knock out of the park. But even still, like that news in and of itself just completely destroyed any kind of momentum I had for a beautiful Friday that I had off from work. And it's just it sucks. It really sucks. It's just that in a sense, when you're here, when our heroes die, like that's just how do you feel? Like it also happens to fall literally the day that Wakanda Forever comes out, and people are going to see that movie in wake of Chadwick Boseman's passing, and it's just like, what can you do? Like
fuck cancer.
Fuck cancer. That's right.
Yes,
That's
cancer,
right.
yes.
Fuck cancer.
Yes, for sure. With all caps, all caps, bro.
That's right.
Fuck cancer. For sure, man. Good words from all you guys, man. And look, and I echo the same thing. I did want to bring up real quick the tweet you put out earlier, Scott, where it was let's see if I can get this up here. Let's see. It's Diane Pershing's where you had took a screenshot of what she had said and put out the Twitter. So I'm gonna bring that up here real quick. Let me take this banner down. All right, and right here, if you can read it right here, is obviously Scott. We got your words there. R.I.P. to Kevin Conroy for sure. This is Diane Person. Very sad news. Our beloved voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy, died yesterday. He's been ill for a while, but he really put in a lot of time at the cons to the joy of all of his fans. He will be sorely missed, not just by the cast of the series, but by his legion of fans all over the world. Below are pictures of Kevin with Lauren Lester, who plays Robin, another with me, and Tara Strong, who is the later episodes of Batman cartoons, and then finally one of Kevin and me in front of the huge audience who used to get when we did our panels. Rest in peace, friend. So that's this is the one I saw today, and I thought, oh, this is real. You know what I'm saying? Because I had seen it pop up, and I was like I said, I was on the treadmill. I was like, what is going on? And I think I was 15 minutes after you posted this, Scott, and I was like, what is happening? And so I read that, and I was like, oh man. If Scott's put this, and I did want to bring up where you posted, I guess this is the release here.
That's the press release, yeah.
Press release. Okay, let's. I'll just skim to read a couple things from this because this is actually for immediate release. Kevin Conroy, preeminent voice of Batman, passes away at age 66. November 11, 2022, actor Kevin Conroy, the most beloved voice of Batman in the animated history of the character, died Thursday at age 66 after a short battle with cancer. A noted stage, film, and television performer, Conroy rose to unparalleled voice acting fame as a title character of the landmark Batman the Animated Series. I love this because I remember him saying somewhere where when he came to audition, he didn't even know that much about Batman. Like when he stepped in there, you know what I mean? And so that's dope. I'd like to hear that, and then seeing where he was when this has happened, that we're talking about now, the knowledge he's gained over that many years, and just say he would establish a never to be broken record as the quintessential voice of Batman, bringing the superhero to animated life in nearly 60 different productions, including 15 films, highlighted by the fire that is Batman: The Mask of the Phantasm, 15 animated series spanning nearly 400 episodes and more than 100 hours of television, as well as 24 video games. Conroy was also featured in his live-action Bruce Wayne and Arrowverse's 2019-2020 Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event. that was dope, even though I wasn't a fan of,
But still,
see, that's the thing. Is like
that's the thing.
It was dope.
That's the power that he has.
I watched it because I
Yeah.
knew that he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't a fan of what at that point in time I wasn't a big fan of the Arrowverse, but when I heard
even the worst DC, like whatever they put out, if they have Kevin Conroy, you're still like, at least they got Kevin Conroy. Like,
he was great. He was great. He finally got to play him in live action. That shit was fucking it's incredible. It says in recent years, Conroy was a notable fixture on the con circuit, greeting fans with the same warmth, respect, and enthusiasm they reserved for him. That's the same thing I was saying earlier. Kevin was far more than an actor, whom I had the pleasure of casting and directing. He was a dear friend for 30 plus years, whose kindness and generous spirit knew no boundaries. Said Emmy Award-winning casting dialogue director Andrea Romano, Kevin's warm heart, delightful, deep laugh, and pure joy of life will be with me forever. Kevin was perfection. Recall Mark Hamill, which he put something out there who redefined the Joker playing opposite Conroy's Batman. Both of them dudes, man. Both of them dudes. That they it's I'll take this down for just a second. It's amazing to me that these dudes they voice the characters now. You're not talking about they weren't on screen. They voiced them, and you got that much love and appreciation for what. Like, it was so good, and I remember the first time I heard like the Joker's laugh, and it sounds like, that's Mark Hamill. Yeah, that's that dude. That's him, and he is he's doing his thing. And so like that in and of itself is, and that's incredible. That's just that's what we're on here talking about right now. Like that particular aspect of it is very, very just absolutely fire to me, is that both of those guys really like defined these two characters, and it was just voice acting. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's how powerful it was. And that's anybody out there who dismisses voice acting as not acting, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, that's acting. And a lot of times, like we could see right here, this is it's acting. It's not taking a backstage to live action or whatever. It's acting. It's acting, ladies and gentlemen. It's acting.
It's actually more work.
Yeah.
It's more work to do that.
Yeah. Because while the characters on screen can show facial expression, they can't. Yeah. And they have to purvey what someone has animated and give it emotion, and they've done that. And so,
well, I think that also goes like hand in hand with you were saying, like, he knew the responsibility of being like the Batman, and he knew he was loved, but it's to the point where it's like, I remember some of my first words when I was running around in my my Batman costume. Some of my first words were literally, "I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman." It's literally the fact that it's stuck with you, or stuck with me like that long. And but no, like I said, he accepted that responsibility like probably right away. And I mean, there's a reason why every panel he is on, like at whatever Comic-Con, he says that. He says, I'm vengeance, I'm the night, I am Batman. And then he sings Am I Blue from that episode of Justice League. Like he never wavers. He never, half-asses any performance or appearance. It's always, you get Kevin. What you saw is what you get,
And then also to be able to read that story that he wrote for the DC Side anthology, which, by the way, if you're not aware, as of today, DC has made that free to read on the website.
Yes, I did see that. Yes, they have. Yes.
So you can check that. I shared the link. It's on DC Comics Twitter and Facebook, but you can read that anthology. Actually, this the whole anthology, but his story is just like the last 10 pages at the end. But to see his story and to know where that voice came from when he walked into that audition booth, it's about getting to know him as a man and not just as the voice of Batman. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So let's bring some of this back up. All right. It says let's see. So yeah, this is, let's see, I'm trying to All right. So he's born on November 30th, 1955 in Westbury, New York. Yeah, I've been to Westbury before. And raised in Westport, Connecticut, Conroy began establishing himself in the acting community while under the tutelage of John Houseman at the Juilliard School, where he studied alongside the likes of Christopher Reeve, Francis Conroy, and his roommate Robin Williams. Hey, man. Conroy began his career following his love of theater, keeping him on stage in both New York and at the Old Globe Theater in San Diego. The actor received rave reviews for his starring performances in A Midsummer Night's Dream at the Public Theater, Eastern Standard on Broadway, Arthur Miller's The Last Yankee, and in the title role of Hamlet in 1984 New York Shakespeare Festival. In addition, he performed in film and television, most notably in the mid-1980s when he had a recurring roles on Dynasty, Tour of Duty, and O'Hara. Successful runs on soap operas Search for Tomorrow, Another World, and guest roles on popular series like Cheers, Murphy Brown, Spencer for Hire, and Matlock. But in his incomparable, nuanced performance as the voice of Batman, they put Conroy on the map and the fans' radar. When Batman animated series debuted on September 5th, remember that shit, 1992. From that point on, Conroy would forever be linked to the Dark Knight. In TV series like Batman Beyond and Justice League Unlimited, films ranging from Batman the Killing Joke and Batman Gotham Knight to Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero and Batman Mystery of the Batwoman and more than 24 video games. Kevin was a brilliant actor. And said for several generations, he has been the definitive Batman. Was one of the most perfect scenarios where they got the exact right guy for the exact right part, and the world was better for it. His rhymes and subtleties, tones, delivery, that all also helped inform my performance. He was the ideal partner, dude. Just reading that is fucking, it's insane. He was the ideal partner. It was such a complimentary, creative experience. I couldn't have done it without him, and he will always be my Batman. Kevin brought a light with him everywhere, says Paul Dini, producer of Batman animated series, whether in the recording booth, giving it his all, or feeding first responders that Scott was just on top about during 9/11, or making sure every fan who ever waited for him had a moment with their Batman, a hero in every sense of the word, irreplaceable, eternal. Conroy, survived by his husband, Vaughn C. Williams, sister Trisha Conroy, brother Tom Conroy. Memorial services are pending, and that is the release, man. The press release that Scott put out here. Appreciate that, Scott. Like I saw that, and I read it, and then I was like, I need to email it to myself so I'd be able to pull this up. And I appreciate, and I also appreciate you putting this other post up, this one here too. This from Diane Pershing, man. Because this is when I was like, oh, it's real. Look at some of the comments. Devastated was the voice of Batman. I will always hear him when I think of the Dark Knight Detective. Hey, man, what a damn day for sure. This just made my weekend. Look at this shit, man. I watched Master of the Phantasm just a little bit earlier because it's obviously it's fire, but I just want to revisit some of that stuff leading up to the stream, man. So yeah,
I thought about what to watch, and it was kind of a tough choice because there's really a lot.
There's a lot,
right? Like,
yes,
30 years worth of
right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I go ahead, Joey.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, I just replayed Arkham Knight like last week for like for Halloween or whatever. And or I guess 2 weeks ago. But like I finished with it, and then this happens, and I'm like, maybe I should replay Arkham Knight. Like it was literally just like that power that he has is just like you want to experience that that Batman again. Like you never want that to, and then thankfully it never will. Like we'll always have his shows and games and movies and whatever. But it's just it just hits different knowing now.
Right.
Yeah.
So Phil, what did you end up picking?
Superman, Batman, Apocalypse.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, my love for Batman kind of goes hand in hand with a little bit of Superman. I mean, when that episode of Superman the Animated Series came on, and Conroy's Batman like shoves the kryptonite in front of I think it's Tim Daly is when he's voicing Superman in the animated series. I think it's Tim Daly.
Yeah, it's Tim Daly,
right? Because George Newbern's Justice League.
It's not George Newbern until Justice League.
Right.
Yeah.
So that whole interaction between the two of them has always just been nothing short of incredible. I love that crossover, that big crossover, the Superman Batman crossover with Lex Luthor and the Joker, and even just seeing all the tweets from like Lauren Lester and Mark Hamill and a lot of other people in the voice acting community.
Clancy Brown had a great one today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, I thought about pulling out the Arkham trilogy and going through it again, but I don't know. It's going to take some time.
Yeah. No, I feel you, man. Do it when you.
I still love the line delivery that Conroy has in that scene right before he whips out the kryptonite, and he's it's right after he put his hand on Superman's shoulder. He flings him over and bashes him into it, and Superman walks up to him in X-ray visions. He goes, Bruce Wayne, and just Conroy's way of going.
Indeed.
I mean, he had this way of saying the funniest things, but like just stone cold. I think of like Clayface Part 2 when he's got germs in that laboratory room, and he grabs the jar and goes, "Zen fever, lousy way to go."
Yo, and I think that's also one of the, because in live action up to that point, like as far as like live, he hadn't been that was when you saw him in the animated series. It was such a cool thing. His attitude was just like it was absolutely just as what you just described, Scott. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was just, it was all business. Every now and then you'll see a little bit, but it was business. But it was, you loved it because you were like, that's my Batman. Like that. That's how I would imagine.
He was so badass. He was so badass Batman, and he would give them shit because that was the best part about his Batman, because he was one of those no-kill Batmans.
Yeah,
but he would also break every fucking bone in your body if he wanted to. So, but he would have that. He would have that attitude where there was that one who goes, "You slime," and, and the way that he would just, it was like when Christian Bale finally would do something like in The Dark Knight when he's got Maroni, and Maroni's like, "Oh, we got you pegged," this is gonna kill me, and he's like, "I know," and he drops him and
breaks his legs.
It's like, I was ready for that because that's what he would do. Like, how many times would he drop some dirt bag from like 20 stories up? You knew he was going to catch him. You knew he wasn't going to let him die, but you knew he was going to shit his pants on the way down.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Or like there's a point in one of the earlier episodes where Conroy just delivers this epic just, "You lying sleaze," and it's just so good. Just so
it's Clayface
good.
Part 1.
It was Clayface. That's right, Clayface Part 1.
Because he's got the guy hanging off the grapple clip of the Batwing, and he's like, who met with Lucius Fox? It was Wayne. Bruce Wayne, you lying sleaze. He's like dragging him across like Gotham Bay.
I think one of my favorite moments more recently, I guess, was actually from Arkham Knight when he's towards the beginning. I don't know if like Scott, I'm sure you've played that, but he's got the guy.
I bought the PS4 just to play that game.
There you go. He's got that guy, the soldier on the ground, and he's like interrogating him, and he's like, "If you're lying, I'll break the other one." And he's like, "The other one." And he's like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
It's just it's like one of those moments where it's just like that's how he would be. Like he knows it too. Like
or like in the first Arkham game when he's escorting Jim Gordon off the island after hell's all broke loose.
Yeah.
And Gordon asks him, he's like, "What? Bane mentioned Dr. whatever is La Bruja. And what does that mean?" And Batman goes, "It's Spanish for witch."
Oh, is this for real? If they
did.
Send me a pic. Did they?
Nice.
Did you send me a picture? Yeah. Pull it up. I didn't know they did this. That's fire, dude.
They did.
Because Joker did just say so somebody needed to like the bat signal like they did. But
that's true.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That is
one of the lines that sticks out to me, and kind of in a weird way because it's spoken by the villain in Arkham Knight, but he says, "Hope is the spread wings of a bat shining on the clouds." And it's just like, I don't know why I always like that line always gets to me, but especially today, I was just like, that really stuck me just thinking about, Kevin. And again, like we keep sound like a broken record, but it's just like he did inspire that hope, and he just helped a lot of us grow.
Yeah.
And some people might find that weird, but that we like Scott said, he voiced a cartoon guy who dresses up like a bat. It's like, but it's something about it, it's something about that speaks to his performance.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Beware the Gray Ghost is going to hit even harder now.
Right.
Because that's what I watched the day Adam West died.
Right.
And now they're both gone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, that episode is just going to wreck me now. Because those were my two Batmen.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I had Keaton, yes, but my first was Adam West, and my favorite is Kevin Conroy. And you think about, and there's always that line at the end of the episode when he was like, I used to watch The Gray Ghost with my dad. He was my hero. And then he turns around, and you get that moment where Simon Trent goes, oh, really? Because it's like the realization that, oh, you're letting me know that you're Batman, because Bruce Wayne is telling him the exact same story. And then he goes to walk out and he goes, and he still is. And I'm just like, damn it, man. Because I used to watch this with my dad. This is the kind of stuff that my dad, I was texting my dad today. I was like, my Batman died yesterday. Like that was something I could tell, like my 67-year-old father, my his 40-year-old son could go, my cartoon Batman died. And my dad would understand what that meant.
Yes. Yeah. That's one of the aspects of it that is incredible, man, because especially Scott, do you think you would have watched it if it did your dad steer you to watch it when you were younger? Was he?
Oh no. This was all, you got to remember, because it's coming out the same year that Batman Returns comes out.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've already been watching reruns of Adam West since 1989, because they started rerunning that when the first Keaton movie came out. And my dad took me as a 7-year-old to go see Batman 89. And so then I went and saw Batman Returns, and then you got Fox Kids, and I've been watching and you got to remember, the people who did Tiny Toon Adventures were the people who decided to develop Batman the Animated Series.
Right.
And so I'm watching that, and it just became something like, my dad would just enjoy, because once again, kind of like what Dave and I have been doing Batman the Fan-Made stream.
Yes.
Our log line for that show is, and this is a kid's show? Because you go back and you watch those episodes, and you're like, what the? Because the way cartoons are these days, they were pushing the limits back then in the 90s. They would never get rid of it. They would never get away with any of that shit today.
No.
I mean, because the maturity and the complexity, which was then carried on by Kevin Conroy in the performance. Like, think of that episode, I Am the Night, where Gordon's been shot, and he's like, he's having an existential crisis about being Batman. There's that, I'm better for the tourist trade than I am for the city, and it's. It's just like, Conroy did not treat it like it was a cartoon. Conroy treated it like it was a real role, coming from that Shakespearean background, understanding that he's playing a role that people have played before him, people are going to play after him. That's sort of like when you play Shakespeare, you just know that. You're being compared to all the hundreds of years of people who did it before you, and you got hundreds of years of people who are going to play it after you. Conroy accepted that, but he made Batman his own. So much so that, like we've said, fuck it. You play Batman, it's more like Morgan Freeman of The Dark Knight. Good luck.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, especially voicing, for sure. After what he's, after the groundwork that he's laid, and what you're talking about, this is a kid show. Even if you watch, like, and I was reminded of it because I said I watched Massive Phantasm earlier. Like, there's a scene in the beginning of the movie that I'm like, wondering myself how I loved it so much. Like, the first time I saw that Massive Phantasm, I was fucking blown away. But there's a scene early on which if you're a kid, it's when Bruce Wayne, they show him at the party early in the movie. He has two chicks, they're talking or whatever, and the one lady walks up, she throws a drink in his face, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching it now, and I'm like, how did I like this when I was that's like far, because you know what I'm saying, you're a Batman fan, you're looking for action and all of this type of thing. That's some Bruce Wayne stuff, and to actually like it, like I can't remember what was going through my mind the first time I watched that scene, but when I watched it, I was like, how did I like this when I was younger? Oh, that's right, because it's great voice acting there, and so no, when you bring that up about it being, if this is a kid's show, you're right, because those types of things were thrown in there that, like, you know, I think they started doing it when it comes to the Pixar stuff, when like Shrek, they started throwing jokes in for the parents. So like, you know, you take the kids get entertained when they see it, but there's also some older jokes thrown in that are literally for the adults that brought their kids there. So I don't know if that's what they were going for with this particular scene in that film. But when I saw it earlier, I was like, that's and I loved it watching it. But like at the same time, I was like, damn, I liked this when I was a kid. Yeah, I did. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
what about the I word?
Yeah,
the I word.
Yeah, I word.
Engagement.
Yeah, he has this look on his face like, that's not how you
what
spell
the hell?
But yeah.
But that was the point, though, is that the people who made the show, like Alan Burnett worked on Super Friends, and he was so sick and tired of the kiddie shit that they were forced to do on Super Friends, that when he heard about Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski developing Batman the Animated Series, he was like, just please tell me that we're doing like we get to do this real. It was the adults saying, I want to write a cartoon. I want to make a cartoon that I would want to watch.
Yeah. Right.
And that was the thing. They didn't talk. When I joke about it's a kid's show, it's like, well, no, because the adults were making a show that they would want to watch. They just made sure that it was appropriate enough to be aired,
on a kid's network.
On a kids network after school.
Yeah.
That's why we respected it, because it didn't talk down to us. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of aspects of that series I had to grow into. They would use words and phrases and concepts. Like last week, Dave and I were talking about a bullet for Bullock. The whole plot of that is about the fact that someone's trying to kill Bullock because he has a rent control department. I didn't know what rent control was when I was 12.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool, but it was like, but it didn't talk down to you. It was like really good literature. It just expected you to rise to the occasion. It wasn't going to dumb it down for you. It's like, no, you're gonna join us up here, and you're gonna figure out. And I've done that as I've rewatched the show, and I hear words that I'm like, I didn't know what that meant when I was 10, and it didn't matter either, because I could still show, but it means more to me now that I'm older.
Let's see. Yeah, I feel you 100%. So this is Phil sent me this, and it says recipes Kevin Conroy, you will be missed. This is absolutely fire. Man, that's dope, man. That's tonight, right?
Well, that just sound earlier, so I think it might have originally been like a mock-up, but because it was tweeted out, it was tweeted out by the official Empire State Building Twitter account.
Oh, okay.
And obviously this one's coming from Instagram. So at the time they sent this out, it wasn't late enough for it to be
dark enough to
So
it might be like that right now. Okay. So yeah. Okay.
Maybe. Okay. I would be very interested to know that.
Yeah. So if you guys can see if it's yeah, they put that out a little bit. And then I want to bring up this also. This is Mark Hamill's tweet. They come out stunned by the loss of this brilliant actor. Words cannot express my admiration and respect for the man. I love them like a brother. They made some fire content together, man. They did. They did for sure. And here's another picture of them. He made the lives of the generation magical. Yeah, man. I'm so sorry, Mark. This one really hurts. Yeah, dude. It's let's see. Without Batman, crap, I had no punchline. I'm incredibly sorry for your loss, Mark. You're destined to do it forever. Dude, they did it for a long time. And it's their scene at the end of, and look, it's whatever you think about the Killing Joke, the animated movie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I did appreciate the ending because the first time I read that, I was a kid, like literally, like I was young and I didn't understand like the way that it was put on the page, that the joke that they were telling to each other. And so like, over the years, I understood it better, but seeing it the way they put it together in the animated film, and like I said, you could whatever you thought about the animated film, that's up to you. It's nowhere.
But having those, deliver those lines,
yes.
I mean, right, because I mean, like when you get to that part, like when you get to that last part of the movie, that is the actual Killing Joke graphic novel. I mean, every word they're saying is what Alan Moore wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the joke of not the joke, but it's like when we say, when we read these characters, these are the voices in our heads. But then to have an anime movie where literally the lines are being said by the voices in our heads, it's something, it's different. And I think what made all these actors, I was tweeting with Meg earlier, and she saw Adriana Barbeau, who was the voice of Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
Now I say something the same way that I saw Diane Pershing do it. But these actors back in the day, they would be in the same room performing off of each other. So they create, it's not like it is you just go into a booth by yourself and just record your lines. Like they were like in a table read, almost like bouncing off each other. So these actors developed genuine friendships and relationships. So when you see this love for Kevin, you know it's authentic because these people spent time with each other in these recording sessions. I mean, there's that famous photo you see of everybody during the recording of Almost Got Him, because that was like one of those rare episodes where it was like everybody and their mother was in that episode.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get this. Joey just sent me something.
Sorry, I wasn't not listening to you guys. I was trying to find this Kevin Conroy telling a story that I remember from a couple years ago. So my head was like kind of buried in my phone.
I get it. I was doing that today, and that was the best part. Is like I felt like I needed to get off my phone today because I felt like I was just wallowing in the sorrow. But there was so much content for it.
So much.
Yeah,
it was more like a. It was more like a wake. I even joked with you, Anthony. It's like this weekend's gonna be like a wake.
Yeah,
it's like it's going to be it's like, yes, today we get to have the initial sorrow of him being gone.
Yeah.
But what I want that to lead into is then let's spend the rest of the weekend celebrating the man for what he did.
Yeah.
And why he means so much to us.
So I'm bring up this. This is what Joey sent me right here. You said, I think I got it right. I think I got it queued up correctly. Here we go.
Freddie from Jersey.
Can y'all hear that?
Yes.
And you basically touched upon it right before. When did you realize that you guys had a thing that this is going to be great, this is going to be successful? At what point did you realize that?
When they asked me to come in and work.
It's a funny story, actually. I was going to mail some mail in a Hollywood post office at 5 a.m. on my way to the studio. It's so dark outside. I pull into this parking lot. All I have is my mail in my hand. I run from my car to the mailbox, and there's this pile of rags on the side of the road. And I go, "Hey, buddy, you got $1?" And I looked, and I realized there was a person under the rags. And I said, "All I have is my mail. I'm sorry. I don't have anything." And he said, "Oh, my God, you're Kevin Conroy." And I thought, did he see my mail? Did he read my name? And then I thought, is this an actor that I worked with? Is this how bad it gets? You know, is this my future that I'm staring at? Because all this was going through my mind, and I went, yeah. And he said, "You're Kevin you're Batman." I said, "How do you know that?" He said, "Everybody knows it was Batman."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He said, come on. You know what I want you to do? I am vengeance. It's 5 a.m. It's dark. I'm in the middle of a parking lot. He said, I am vengeance. He said, oh, yeah, Batman, come on. I am the night. I went, I am the night. He said, bring it home, Batman. I said, I am Batman. And we heard from the dark, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I think that was it. But
I've heard that story before.
Yeah.
It's such a great story. And I think the weird thing about Kevin was, let's be honest, when we're growing up, did we give a shit who the voices of the cartoons were?
No.
And there was something about this show that made us give a crap about who the voices were, where you would actually watch the credits at the end to see who the names were. I mean, why do we care so much about Kevin? Like he said, it's like, you're Kevin Conroy, you're Batman. It's like, everyone knew who was playing Batman.
Yeah.
He made us care what his, like that, about who it was. Like we said, like he was an actual actor. It's like, we do care who's playing this role. And so that we know who Kevin Conroy is.
Yeah. And look, man, I think what's even more impressive about that is at the time you had the live actions on screen in cinemas. So you had those Michael Keaton's and whoever, Val Kilmer and stuff, but you still had Kevin, you know what I'm saying? So like, it was like a thing where like, if you, that's even more impressive that you knew that Kevin Conroy was that dude, even though, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, look, and like you said, what the question you just asked, when you're kids and you're watching, like, you really don't care who's voicing, just as long as it's engaging and it's good. So like, kids would normally look on I see them on the big screen and stuff like that. But when they came home after school, when it's that recognizable, that you know what I'm saying, that Batman means, like, it resonates that much with you when you hear it. I think just anything he's ever said in the role, when you hear it, like, for me personally, I know it's the same problem with you guys, but like when you hear it, you don't have to be looking at it. You're like, that's Kevin Conroy. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with playing the games or whatever. Because I remember coming across the first Arkham game. I caught it late because I was deployed and stuff, and I didn't get to catch it until I got back home for my first deployment. I remember, couldn't wait, got the game. I was like, this is absolutely fucking incredible. Like, obviously, we know the game is fire. That's the first Arkham Asylum is, as far as video games go. I like to talk about video games on here. It's the guy, that's some god tier shit right there. So,
don't make the mistake I did playing it at 2 a.m.
When you hooked. What time?
No. Because that game, especially when you get later on in the game, it's scary as shit.
Yeah.
And nobody in their right fucking mind needs to be playing some of that shit at 2 a.m. in the morning when you're just like,
it is.
Especially that Killer Croc level.
Yeah,
dude, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, the Killer Croc level,
and then you get
levels,
and then you get to the the Scarecrow ones are nightmare. I mean, literally, but
nightmarish.
But like, then you get to the part where, like, it crashes the game, and
the
first time that happened to me, I was borrowing the game from my brother, and I thought he was going to kill me because I ruined his game. I'm like, I didn't even do anything, and then like it starts over. I'm like, why? It is one of the worst, but also like the best troll thing I've ever seen from like a video game.
And once again, you care because Kevin's there. I mean, like, Kevin's there the whole, like, whose voice are you hearing more as you play that game than Kevin?
Yep.
No, yeah, exactly. But whether it's talking to Alfred or anybody in the game, or just him talking to himself when he says shit, as you're going through the I think that's one of the best things. When they decided to make this game, I am very, very happy that, because we talked about it already. there's been other animated films that have been really good that they've come out with that didn't use Kevin for Batman. And I know Phil brought up one that I absolutely think is an absolutely fire movie, The Dark Knight Returns. And while I do love Peter Welling's, you automatically know though. And that's what Scott was talking about when we first started, was that when these new movies would come out and you'd see who's voiced Batman, you'd be like, why not? Why not the GOAT? You know what I'm saying? And so
unfortunately, that like immediately you're like, wow, you just made this harder on yourself.
Yes.
You just made this harder. Like, as a fan, it's like I'm not sure if I'm saying that I just made it harder on myself, because I personally have to get over my shit about the fact that it's not Kevin. And then I'm looking at them going, and you just made it harder on you for me to enjoy this, which, to your point, Phil, like when Bruce Greenwood did it in Under the Red Hood, I was like, okay. Okay. And like you said, and then Jensen in Long Halloween, like it actually becomes more of a, okay, I don't hate you. This is like that's what you strive for when you're not Kevin Conroy and you're voicing Batman. Is I didn't hate that.
Yeah,
like that's like, if you can hit the bar, you're winning.
Yeah.
And you start looking at it like, maybe this is an homage to Kevin. This is an homage. And what he did was an homage. Yeah.
Well, and it's like 90% of, that, I guess that role in particular is making it your own, because you don't want to be just another impression of Kevin Conroy. Like, you want to make Batman your own, but like even doing that, it's like Kevin Conroy did this. How am I supposed to what? Like, how am I supposed to make this memorable? And it is nice that some people have.
I think the biggest example of that, of trying to do either Kevin Conroy or even Mark Hamill, respectively, as Batman and the Joker, the best example that comes to mind immediately is Arkham Origins. Like Troy Baker, a lot of people give Troy Baker a lot of credit for being able to pretty much do Hamill, even though you can still kind of tell it's not quite Hamill.
Yeah,
right.
But Roger Craig Smith had the bigger task. He had to step into the shoes of Kevin Conroy. So after Arkham City came out, and he did a good job, but it wasn't quite. It just wasn't Kevin Conroy, and you can tell, even though he was trying, it just it just missed that charm, that gravitas, that
poor Origins, or everything was stacked against Origins. It's actually a really enjoyable game.
Me and Joey were just talking about this the other night.
But man, did it just have all the shit stacked up against it. You didn't have Kevin, you didn't have Mark, it wasn't Rocksteady, it was Warner Brothers Montreal, and thankfully and apparently it was quite buggy when it was first released, and thankfully by the time I played it, I waited like months. I didn't have time. Like, I bought it when it first came out, but I didn't have time to play it. So by the time I played it, all the patches had already been uploaded. So I just, before I even played the game, I just downloaded all the patches, and I had a pretty smooth experience,
pretty flawless experience
playing the game. But Troy Baker was basically just doing a Hamill impersonation. But I never felt like Roger was trying to do Kevin, and I think that was to his credit. Like, he didn't. You're never going to be Kevin,
right?
So don't try to be Kevin. Yes, Andre, and that's also a part. And Andre brings up a great point, Anthony, because once again, thank you for your service. And it's just it's been hard, because that's what today should have been about. And I just couldn't find it in me to make today what it's supposed to be about.
No, 1000% feel you, man. Like I said, when I saw it, I was like, oh man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was one of those things where I like automatically knew. I was like, well, it doesn't matter if anybody comes on tonight, I will be live talking about, you know what I'm saying, Kevin, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I will be doing. Like, I knew that from the point that I saw that. I was just like, man, this is. So no, don't. I would. Yes, it is Veterans Day. Shouts out to all my vets out there, man. Appreciate your service. But yes, this is. And look, man, I played a lot of Arkham when I was deployed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Arkham games, bro. Because once I got back home from that and got that first one, when the next ones came out, And when we were talking about Origins, it's Origins, besides what you just said had it going against it, they also had to follow a monumental fire game, which is Arkham City.
Oh, my
Arkham
favorite
City was fucking fire.
Oh, no, City is my favorite.
Yeah.
City is my favorite. And dear God, having Kevin and Mark like on their A game.
Yeah.
I mean, they were on their A. I mean, once again, because what you remember, Asylum and City were written by Paul Dini.
Yes.
So you've got Dini writing them.
Mm-hmm.
You got Kevin and Mark performing them. And going back to Kevin and also Mark, but today's about Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, he's in a video game and he is turning in a performance.
Yes.
And a performance where Dini talked about writing it, but Kevin also talked about how hard it was to do the recording sessions, because when you're recording for the video game, it's not like you're recording this linear script that has a sort of thing, because once again, you've got to record these lines for all the
scenarios,
variations of what's going to happen in the game. And Kevin's there delivering. So like you're getting engrossed in this game that has this incredible story, when, there's a lot of people who go look at the Arkham games and just look at like the fighting engine and just go, oh, the combat in the Arkham games is fucking nuts. I mean, what's the one thing we all say about the Martha rescue in Batman v Superman? Looks like a fucking Arkham game.
Yeah.
Right. There are things there as Batman fans, we create standards that we hold everything else up to. We're going to hold people up to how well can you play Batman compared to Kevin Conroy. I don't care if you're Christian Bale, if you're Ben Affleck, if you're Robert Pattinson. It's like, oh no, I'm measuring you up to this voice I have in my head since I was 10.
Yeah.
And
I think one of the cool things is I think some of the actors who come in to take that role kind of do that to themselves as well, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? They say, well, damn it, man. I'm going to tell you right now, not to cut you off, Scott. Don't think I have the voice for it at all. If I was ever approached about doing voicing Batman for anything, I'd be like, no. I'm gonna have to decline, sir. No, I can't do that. But go ahead, Scott.
No, but to your point, but it's kind of like what Henry Cavill said at that Happy Sad Confused. It's like you have to ignore what everyone else did and make it your own, because you're either going to impersonate someone or you're going to try to be different for different's sake. Kevin made it his own.
Yes.
Kevin found his own. I know that method gets thrown around, but what he did was basically what they teach you in acting. And with him being a classically trained actor, it was he dug into his own emotional baggage and owned the role based on his experience. And so when he brought up all that hurt, I mean, there was that. What I was reading some of the other articles, especially Hollywood Reporter, and apparently there was an interview he did with Hollywood Reporter with back in 2018, because that was the 25th anniversary of Phantasm, and he talked about how him dealing with his own unresolved emotional issues with his father fed those performances in Phantasm, because dear God, I mean, that scene in front of the Wayne's grave when he's got like that whole, the whole, I didn't plan on being happy. I need you to tell me that it's okay. And I'm just like, and the rain.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, even before Andrea shows up, and it's like, maybe they already have, maybe they sent me. And I'm like, oh my God. But the performance, that there's a reason that cartoon makes me fucking cry every time I watch it. And it's because of the performance that Kevin is turning in that moment. It's real. That shit is real. And it came from a place.
Yeah. And it's also like, just to think about the fact that when I like the fact that, like I was saying, when he didn't know much about the character when he took the role. That's fire, because it's not like any other actor who has to come into this after Kevin Conroy. In which cases, that's Kevin Conroy. It's like, I don't want to call it the elephant in the room, but it's like that's the prestige performance, of Batman. And so he didn't have that. He could come in and make that shit his own. Like come in and do it. You know what I'm saying? And so I appreciate that. And I think let's see where I can't remember where I saw that at. He said it somewhere. It's been a while, but it was just that he didn't have. He wasn't that knowledgeable about Batman when he took on the role. So I think that's
I think he talked about it a little bit in that video that I just sent you. Like it's
and he's talked about it like a lot. I mean, I think he talks about it in the Finding Batman story in the DC Pride anthology. I think there's another one. There's a great big story that they showed. I know during the first DC Fandom. Those little interstitial periods of time in between like the big panels. Like he's been very open about that. But what I love is how it's like the show made him a fan.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. I mean, honestly, because the show made all of us fans. I mean, I like to joke 75% of my DC knowledge came from watching that freaking series. I mean, how many of these characters that have been around for 30, 40 years at that point was that series the first time I'd ever heard of them? And I'm also not prepared on the Fanimated stream, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, when we're doing an episode where 3 of the main voice actors in the episode, we all lost this year.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Because we're coming up on Avatar, which means we're going to lose Kevin, David Warner, and Nichelle Nichols. I'm not prepared for fuck you 2022.
And joining us right now, we got Dawson in the house. What up, Dawson?
Man.
What's up, everybody?
What's good, Dawson, man? We just been up here talking about Kevin Conroy, man, for a good bit of time, dude. Just
guys, I'm going to take a quick pause. I need to go put my kids to bed.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll be right back.
No
so, Dawson, I'm not running away because you showed up.
Okay, sure. All right. Well, I
would.
We know, Joey. You know you would.
All right, Scott, man.
I'll come back. I'm just
okay.
gonna turn my camera off for a second.
Okay, gotcha, man. Gotcha.
I just got back from seeing Wakanda Forever, and I'll be doing a video review of that after I get off here. But
if we get time, we'll talk about it. If not, then, we could. We've been.
I was supposed to see it tonight, but that didn't happen.
Okay, that's good. Cool, man. Cool. Like
I almost didn't. I couldn't find parking near my theater. It was ridiculous.
Dude, I couldn't get seats that weren't in the front row.
Wow.
So,
man.
Yeah,
I had to sit in between a elderly couple and this family with 5 kids because there's like no variation of seating. So I was just like,
poor son of a bitch.
All right.
Yeah.
That's almost it's almost like a timeline of like aging.
Pretty much. That's right in the middle. That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that.
So, Dawson, man, appreciate you coming on for sure. So, man, just look. I haven't asked anybody their favorite moments or anything like that. Just what's on your mind when it comes to Kevin Conroy, man. I know we talked about it already. We've been live for a little bit over an hour, and we got the news this morning. He passed yesterday. We didn't get the news till today. Kind of shook up a lot of people's days. Considering like I had a lot of stuff planned I had to do today because obviously it's Veterans Day and I had a lot of things. But and I was telling them guys I was at the gym. And I was on the treadmill and I was just getting warmed up to work out. And I was on my phone and I saw Scott's post. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah. So I had to, obviously, everybody did the same thing, research it a bit because there was no official news that had dropped. So you were just sitting there like, is this real or whatever? And then some of the stuff that Scott posted, I told him I appreciate it because that's what let me know, like, this is, holy shit, this is real, man. Yeah. So what you got, Dawson, man?
Yeah, no, I was right there with you. I can't remember what post it was that I first saw that breaking the news, and I was kind of like with everybody else because there's been like celebrity death hoaxes in the past. I think there's one several years ago for Ian McKellen and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's like, so when that first broke, I was like, okay, hopefully this is just a really ill-advised type of joke. But no, obviously later on we got it confirmed, and it's just crazy because I'm sure you guys have said it ad nauseum for good reason that he defined the voice of Batman for several generations of Batman fans, whether it be with the Batman animated series, Justice League, Justice League Unlimited, some Batman animated films, video games. I mean, he was all over the place. I think it was what over 100 projects he did as Batman with voice acting. So he's just, I mean, you can't replace that. You know, you can't replace that as, you know, the iconic Batman. And, you know, I actually, while I was working a lot here in the office today, I had Batman the animated series just playing in the background, you know, just to
nice.
You hear that voice and listen to that great series. And it's just crazy because, again, he defined it for so many people, and it's gone too soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, because Scott was talking about his father's pretty much the same age. And it's just like, Joey was saying earlier, he's young, man. I guess contrary to popular belief, 66 is still young, bro. That's I know that, you know, some of the guys I see at the gym when I go, some older cats, they be in there getting it, man. They're just, you know, they might move around there slow, but they're still in there. You know what I'm saying? So like, it is 66 is.
Did they ever specify the specific type of cancer?
No, I don't remember. No, it just said he had cancer for a short time. And look, man, I do, you know, I've said it already here. I do appreciate how he still went to cons and still engaged with the fans and things of that nature. Because that just shows how much he enjoyed being Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a select few people in this world, and some of them like Kevin are no longer with us that could say that they were Batman. You know what I'm saying? And so like even if you want, even George Clooney could say he was Batman. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So like you know, and that's a thing because we look, we know how popular the character is, and we know there's reasons. I'm sure there's universal reasons why us on this panel love Batman, and there's probably some different reasons why us on this panel love Batman, just because of something we've read or something we saw from him in the years since we started picking up comic books and, you know, reading them and experiencing these characters. So for him to create his own, because I said this right before you got on here, Dawson, that when he took the role, he didn't really know anything about Batman, not that much. And he made it his own because it's not like now if another actor is to take up the mantle of voicing Batman, there's so much out there that's been done in the past that you can look upon, but also you kind of scared you have to live up to in a certain case. Which I'm gonna be real. Look, and this is just the way it is. Anybody who takes up that mantle from now on, like voicing Batman on animated stuff, you're gonna say, man, you know, you're gonna compare the comparisons to Kevin, whether unfair or not, they're just gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I think to your point, what you pointed out earlier is not only was Kevin Conroy so beloved just because of his voice, his iconic voice and his talent, but also, like you pointed out, how interactive he was with the fans about it. He didn't shy away from it. He talked to fans. He rejoiced, and he did videos talking about his very popular Batman moments. And just you could tell he loved what he did and was so great with interacting with people and talking about it. And that just makes you connect more with that actor. When you realize, hey, they actually really love this and they really engage with us, that really gets you attached to the actor. And I think he just did a great job with that throughout his career.
Yeah. He did, man. And Jesus Christ, I just got hit with a ton of messages. So no, when it comes to Kevin, man, you know, shouts out to his family, friends, everybody closest to him. You know, it from all sides, he passed with family right there. Husband and things of that nature, kid, you know, sister, brothers, whatever, just right there with him. Put Scott back up in here.
Oh, so good. Dawson left. Good.
No.
Damn.
I knew it.
Fuck. He's like Batman. He's hiding in the shadows.
Oh man.
No, but what I was saying was, you know, from all sides, he when he left us, it was surrounded by love. So I hope that is the case, you know, and it hopefully when it comes time for all of us to bounce.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, you good. I hope when it's time for when it comes time for all of us to bounce, I hope we're surrounded by love, man. That's about as much as you can ask for, no matter what the circumstances are. When that time comes for you, hopefully that love is there for you, man. And Oh man, yeah. Let me y'all got anything? Y'all go ahead. Let me find Tara Strong's. I did want to pull up Tara's, man.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Tara has some good stuff.
Tara Strong was dope.
I feel like I've talked too much already. It's
hey man, you can never say enough, man. But hey,
well,
Scott, I do appreciate you coming on here, man. I saw you when like I said, your post let me know it was real earlier, man. That's why I hit you up. I was like, yo, if you can, come on, man, talk about some of your, some of your thoughts. But
I just feel like my Twitter feed has just basically been, if you don't want to hear about Kevin Conroy today, you better just mute me today. because I think I said this before, because Phil was also really sweet because he listened to basically the eulogy that I posted on Patreon. And actually a couple of my Squadcast guys said, we really need to publish this in the main. I mean, it's not safe for work, which really doesn't work with our channel, but because I kind of let go. But like me recording that and then me just retweeting or tweeting or sharing stuff, I was processing my grief. And I know people talk about, who's that celebrity that feels like you lost someone you actually knew? And I don't think I've ever. There you go, Phil.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever experienced it the way that I've experienced it today. Like when people talk about losing celebrities, like I said, I never get to meet the guy, but I still felt like, but I've known you for 30 years.
Yeah. And that's 1000%. It's some people are just like that, man. Some of them out there, and I'll bring up. One thing, Tara Strong, she changed her. Let me take this down so we can see Sky. Tara Strong posted a new profile pic. Obviously, you got the bat signal up there. And this is the one right here. This is an absolute, obviously I've seen this before. but not with this. It says, I don't have the words, not today. My heart is broken. There will never be another. He is Batman. And so this is, I can only imagine the vibe they had when they recorded, whenever those types of things went down. Just the vibe in the studio of just recording these vocals that they put out there. Yeah. This is incredible. And it just goes to show, man, just it's not just the fans that are, that lost someone today or last night, but basically today. But I think there's, you sometimes in this thing, you forget the people that they actually work with. And
you need to find the thread. Like Susan Eisenberg had had a whole thread she was doing, because I mean, I think you have to credit what we kind of accept as like the Wonder Bat relationship that really got developed in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. I almost feel like completely was created because of how much Kevin Conroy and Susan Eisenberg just like gelled together. And I know that when Meg got to interview Susan Eisenberg for Comic Book Resources, that was my question. I was like, please ask her about, what was it like working with Kevin, and just the love that comes off of that woman's lips when she talks about the friendship she had with Kevin is just special. I think that's the thing. Talk to any of these people who worked with Kevin. And they just loved the man.
Again, it's like that personal relationship he established with coworkers and the fans. And one thing that I noticed when I was listening to some animated series episodes today while I was working is how well he did as a voice actor compared to a lot of others. Like, don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of great Batman animated voice actors in the past, but the way that he was able to do a great transition from Batman to Bruce Wayne back to Batman, like with a difference in voice, like obviously it was still him, but like the skill that it took to be those two different people, two personalities, the person who's acting like something he's not, was just very, very skilled. And it impressed me today as I was listening to it. Because again, I knew that for like before, but just hearing it again was like, especially knowing that he's gone now, because there's a difference when you're watching a movie and you recognize the actor and you're saying like, oh yeah, I know their work, and if they're still alive, it's like, oh yeah, like you just think of them like, oh, they're doing their thing. But once that person passes, it makes you, I don't know. My dad always did this thing where we'd watch old movies and he'd always like to point out all the older people in like a 70s or 80s film. He's like, most of them are dead, and it makes you kind of think through some things, makes you kind of put that in perspective, and that's exactly what happened with watching the show today.
I would even say, Dawson, he's actually doing 3 voices because he's doing, and this came from Dr. Drea over at Arkham Sessions.
Drea Letamendi.
Yes. There's Batman. There's Bruce Wayne. And then there's Bruce. Because there's Bruce Wayne, the persona, hi, Lucius, how you doing?
Yeah.
And then there's Bruce, where he's like, I'm not in the cowl.
But he's talking with Alfred.
But he's talking with Alfred, and he's not doing the act.
Yeah.
Right.
And the fact that you can watch the show and realize, no, he's actually doing 3 different voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, and like in that Batman Beyond episode, I think, where he gets hypnotized or mind controlled or whatever, and he was like, "Well, the voice in my head, it called me Bruce."
Yeah.
And he was like, "What's wrong with that?" He's like, "That's not what I call myself." It's just like a. God, I got chills just now thinking about that line. Delivery.
Yeah.
Oh. And then the Batman Beyond episode I always think of as Out of the Past. And it, because one, when they're going to see that terrible musical, Kevin Conroy's the voice of the actor on stage who's singing the Batman role.
Yeah.
And then I just, when we talk about his ability to say things stone cold, but yet so funny, it's like when he and Terry are like fighting against like the League of Assassin people at the end of the episode. And he's like, it's something like, oh, that was gross. And you just hear Kevin going, at least you didn't kiss her. It's just like, and that's another one. I haven't checked Twitter yet, but I would love to see what Will had to say, because Phil, like you mentioned, I'm like, just the bond those two had, working on Batman Beyond, because once again, another one of those shows that like no one expected that show to work.
Yeah. It's absolute fire.
I find it so funny that some Batman fans kind of look at Batman the Animated Series like the totem pole and like praise it for everything that's worth, but then they look at Batman Beyond and they're like, I'm like, okay, you do you, but that show's awesome.
One of my favorite moments with the whole like older Bruce, and like I can't remember if it was in Batman Beyond or in Justice League Unlimited, when the universes connect, or like they go from past to the future, like the Justice League, and Batman faced off against old Bruce Wayne, and Terry's like, Batman beat Bruce beat Batman. Have you guys
that
met?
Was Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, and they're like,
it was the once and future thing part 2.
Yeah, and then they both say to Terry, "Not now."
Yes.
Like, yes, so great.
Yeah, because it's Bruce, Diana, and Jon Stewart who are time traveling.
Yeah.
Why I fucking can name the titles of these episodes is like that's
impressive.
Well, no, but like that's
how much it was a part of you,
Yeah, that's how much it was part of me. It's like, and it's not. And Phil, to your point, not just Batman the Animated Series, like the whole freaking DC animated, the DCAU. Because as far as I'm concerned, I mean, yes, the Batman the Animated Series stands apart in a way because of the Dark Deco and the black paper, and but once you get past that first 80 something episodes, and then 85 actually, the first 85 episodes, which makes up season 1 and season 2. But once you get into Superman the Animated Series, which then gets you into season 3 of Batman the Animated Series, then into the rest, like after that, oh no, it's a completely interconnected universe. And it's crazy when you go back and you watch everything in order, like how connected it all gets.
Right.
But once again, what's the one thing that holds it all together? Kevin's there.
Kevin Conroy,
Kevin's there the whole time.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
Or like one of the best, hands down the best performances moments of his Batman, and I think I've seen this come up a couple times already today, is that epilogue episode, the part where Kevin Conroy gets asked by Amanda Waller to go take out Ace, who is having this super powerful psychokinetic energy, just altering reality. Like her powers are getting so out of control, it's literally altering reality as they know it. And if it doesn't stop, it can literally just wipe everything out, right? So Batman goes into her, you know, imaginary forest, or, you know, the reality bending forest, whatever you want to call it, and like he, instead of like giving this little girl this serum that's essentially going to kill her, he's like, no, I never plan on using it on you to begin with. I know you're dying. He already knew before Waller even asked him to do it. And I think, number one, that's totally a Batman thing to do. But number two, the fact that he sits down and just sits with this child who lost her childhood, the way that he just says, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically sympathizes with this girl. Like, yeah, I understand. I lost my childhood too. And all she says is, can you just sit with me? And he just sits down on the swing, and it's just, how do you not?
That is my wife's all-time favorite Batman moment.
Oh man, it's so dope.
It's an all-timer.
Well, it's right up there with, like, there was another Justice League episode, Kid Stuff, where they get when they get turned into kids, and then there's that great moment where he goes, I haven't been a kid since I was 8 years old, and you're just like, and that was another thing. Kevin's ability to just deliver, like, we've talked about how he can deliver like the funny lines without making them sound like they're jokes. It's because he's saying them like stone cold that makes them funny. But then he can also deliver like those gut punch lines, like, I haven't been a child since I was 8 years old. And you're just like,
Side note, we were talking a bit ago about like jokes, you know, that like could go over a kid's head, but like are kind of there for adults. In that epilogue episode, I don't know if you guys remember, but it's when Amanda Waller's talking to Terry. Yeah. And she says like yeah, because Bruce, you know, Bruce was leaving his DNA all over
the place. Yes.
And then there's a pause, and she just goes, "That's not what I meant." I'm like,
well,
you made that joke in a kid's cartoon. Are you joking?
I get that joke now, and it's so funny because back then, even up until before you said it, like I've heard it, and I'm just thinking, oh well, yeah, he's left his blood all over crime scenes from beating up criminals and shit. Not even realizing that yes, the billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne has more than likely left his DNA everywhere else around the city.
Well, it goes back to that Mask of the Phantasm, which is like, you know, he'll wine and dine you, and just when you're ready to start picking out the china, he forgets your phone number.
Yeah. As a kid's like, what? But then there's
And of course you got Arthur going, it's almost like you pick these women because you know there's no chance for a serious relationship. And it's like, thanks for the handkerchief, Arthur. You know where you can stick it.
And then he immediately goes into his office and just remanicing right then to his parents, like
the giant portrait over the
on the wall, and it's just like and you get pretty much like some backstory there with the I'll just talk to you again. Yeah. So this is I see where Susan put this out here. See, it says Kevin Conroy, who died at 66, was maybe the greatest performer of Batman. Not maybe.
No, there's no maybe. There's no.
There's
no maybe.
He's probably trying to be like humble in honor of, you know, Kevin, because he'd probably be like, yeah, well.
It says one of them says not maybe, undoubtedly a true legend.
You know what clip got me today was it was a clip where Kevin Conroy was doing some promotion for something Batman related, either game or something, where he's like, if I were to give any advice to the next Batman voice actor, it'd be don't, because I'm still here.
Yeah.
That got me. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Gut wrenching.
For me, he will always be Batman. I was never in the comics. Love Batman animated series. World has lost a legend today. Thank you for entertaining us, Kevin. You leave behind an amazing everlasting legacy for future generations. Rest in eternal peace. Yes, sir. This is it. You'll be hard pressed to find anyone who will disagree with him being called the greatest performer of Batman ever.
Oh, and that's another thing. We're DC fans. Fuck it. Can we argue with each other like on anything? And yet Kevin Conroy is Batman. It's like the whole chorus just went, amen.
Yeah.
It's like like, try to find someone, and if they are, they're probably just being a troll. Try to find anyone who doesn't just look at Kevin Conroy and go, goat.
Or just trying to be different.
Goat. Go.
Right. No, because we all, it's like it's like the one thing that brought us all together.
Mhm.
Like, if anything brought a DC fan together, it was us going, Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin.
Even if they don't like Batman that much, they're still like, yeah, no, it's
Kevin's.
like, it's Kevin. Like, who else is it going to be?
Mm-hmm. Someone said, "What do you mean? Maybe he is vengeance. He is Batman." Yeah, there's, oh my God, this saddens me so much. Yeah, it was shocking, man. Shocking to say the least.
Yeah. Honestly,
this is cool. Who's you talking about earlier? Phil was at Fax's 9/11 story. Always made me smile.
Mm.
Oh man, this scene from Phantasm.
My God.
And that image right there, that image of him in shadow holding the cowl, that was definitely one of those images that I saw a lot today that just make you go,
I want to do a sketch of that shot so bad.
Do it.
Fine.
Coward.
That is dope.
No,
yeah, the first time putting that shit on it.
Great Batman moment.
Yeah. I do love that. Anytime I've ever seen that, but that's probably the best one because Alfred's response is incredible. Jeez. That's
and very understandable.
Yeah. If you were, just imagine if you working for somebody and they all of a sudden like, yeah, I'm gonna fight crime, and here's what it looks like. Yeah, and you're like, whoa, that shit is Alfred. That's probably the best. No problem. That's probably the best Alfred response I've ever seen to the first time he sees Bruce's Batman. That's just fired.
Well, it's why Phantasm to this day, I don't give a shit what you think about animation. If someone asks me what my favorite Batman movie is, it's Mask of the Phantasm.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have they're like, no, I mean, no, shut your mouth. Mask of the Phantasm is the best Batman movie ever made.
Even and I'll say, like, as a kid, seeing the opening to that movie, that shit looks cool. It looks cool as shit. It's like it's like early CG animation where it's going through the city, and
it's just city. It's just a skyline.
Yes, but it looks cool. It looks cooler than you've probably seen in animation leading up to that point. I was just like, dude, what am I watching right now? Like,
and of course, then you got Shirley Walker score, like just kicking in it, and like she gets a choir for the movie, and it's just like, I mean, Kevin was blessed to have like the GOAT. Not only was he the GOAT, he had a crew around like it, and he'd probably be the first person to say it wasn't just him, it was all the people around him making the show. Because I mean, he had the writers, he had the ensemble, he had the composers. I mean, we love him so much because he was an amazing Batman, but then also he was blessed to be put into the right situation where all the things around him was there to make.
I mean, having Mark Hamill as Joker alongside him was like, dude, holy crap. Like, that just solidified it even more. I mean, that iconic duo is just...
Well, I think even with that, coupled with, the creative minds of Radomski, Alan Burnett, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, Kevin Altairi, there's a laundry list of names you can attribute to just making that series work as well as it did. And
Andrea Romano.
Romano, yes.
Dude, you can't, I mean, once again, I know a casting director. Like, I know, I mean, come on, like, that's the thing. It's like, she was the voice director on a cartoon, but I know who she is.
Yeah.
Because she's the GOAT, and she hired Kevin. She hired all those people. It's just it's not fair that we lost Kevin. I mean, the other ones we've lost, you almost understand because
Michael Ansara, David Warner,
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., Bob Hastings.
Bob Hastings, yeah.
Yeah, we've lost all of them, but they were also like, they were already kind of up there when the show was coming out. So the fact that we had them as long as we did, you know, when they went, it didn't hurt so much because it was like, it felt more like it was their time.
Yeah.
But Kevin, we felt like we had, I mean, I said this in my eulogy recording. It was like, I'm still wondering, like, for Kate Crusader, had they done recordings yet? Like we were supposed to get him back for that show,
right?
And,
and
I'm like, was it already recorded? Because, you know, they record the voices before they do the animation.
Yeah.
So it was like, do we have more Kevin coming?
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah. I feel like if they did record them, that would likely be his last run on the character.
Which I would at least go into that show going, okay.
That makes that show that much more of a must see. I mean, knowing that's the last you'll get ever of Kevin Conroy as Batman, like, holy cow.
And that might be the case. If that is indeed the case, I'm sure they might wait a bit before they share that information. But that would be pretty nice if we do get one last fresh, like, you know, Batman from Kevin. But if that's not the case, we have
30 years of amazing.
Of amazing, just we got 30 years of Batman. All right, we got 30 years of pretty much Batman that we can look back on. If we don't ever, and I hope that's not the case, if we never get to hear anything new from Kevin as far as what he did before yesterday to you know, bless us with his iconic performance as Bruce Wayne / Batman, because he did the thing, man. He did the thing, and shit, man. I don't. If y'all got any more thoughts, man, you're more than welcome to share, man. Everything else, man.
I just know this isn't the last time this weekend I'm going to be talking about this.
Oh yes,
yes,
definitely not. Yeah.
And I almost am afraid that within our community, like, I don't want us to wear out our welcome, but it's also like we have feelings, and we are of an age that's like I said, I was freaking 10 and a half when the show started. Yeah. And I need to, like I said, it's we're processing our grief. That's what this is. And we're just the fans. Like I also, my heart goes out to his husband, to his siblings, to his, his coworkers who obviously were friends of his. I mean, hearing from Paul Dini today, hearing from Diane Pershing and Andrea Barbeau and Tara Strong and all these people who have worked with him for those 30 years.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like for them right now, because they're processing losing him early, and they're like, and they know him in real life.
Yeah.
He's a dude on a screen to me, and it hurts.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Kind of going back to what Scott mentioned earlier, like this show, it was written by people who wanted to watch a show that they would make for them, but it was also under the circumstances that it would play under a kids television network. And I think that, to Scott's earlier point of that show not holding your hand, like some of my favorite episodes are probably the Riddler episodes. John Glover, number one, phenomenal voice for the Riddler, but number two, like my favorite episode, I would probably say, is If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich? Like that is without question one of my favorite Batman the Animated Series episodes, because it's such a heightened level of, there are riddles in there that really make you think, and they're not really that they're not really that easy either. Like you really have to think about them before Batman and Robin answer them, obviously, but like and like the things that they implemented in that episode in regards to mythology, in regards to the games and the Hand of Fate, like everything about that's one of my favorite episodes. And I think that Conroy, just the way he bounces off with Robin, the way he goes back and forth with Riddler in regards to Riddler's boss. I'm trying to remember the name of the characters, but anyway.
What was the?
It's
What was the head of that tech company? Oh, shit!
It's not Macintosh, but it's something Tosh. I think it's like I don't remember.
I'm going to look I'm going to look this up because you've just like it's bugging the shit of me,
right?
Oh man, no, but what I loved is like when you're talking about, is when is the owner of the Minotaur as high as an elephant's eye, and Batman just goes corn,
Mockridge,
yes, yeah, and then corn, old song lyric before your time, and I'm just like that's another one. It's like if you don't freaking know Oklahoma, you ain't gonna get that. You ain't gonna get that riddle.
Yeah. Oh man.
But man, if y'all what y'all got anything else, man? Because like I said, man, I'm like I said, they have some stuff. Yeah, man, it's hopefully I'm sure that we'll be getting some stuff in the coming weeks from DC and things as far as maybe they'll be releasing some who knows? There's some stuff they might put out there, for you as far as some Kevin Conroy like centric things as far as I don't know if they're going to box sets or anything like that they might try to put out there for the fans or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They hadn't announced anything yet as far as I know. So
right.
If that be the case, I'm sure we'll be on it because we do like running pretty much the same circles when it comes to social media. So we'll see stuff like that, man. And as far as family and things of that nature, I hope that they're doing well, and I hope that especially not just the family, but the people who work with him, like Scott was saying, that those people that like would spend days with him in a booth recording vocals for whatever that they were recording for, those are the people who, besides the family that would need some shouts out tonight, probably because they spent a lot of time with him as well. And so they're gonna, as much time as we spent with him, because look, we all spent a lot of time with him as far as not personally, but we watched a lot of his stuff and we took in a lot of his voice, and he's Batman, dude. He is. I'm never gonna say he's not, so I'm not gonna say he's not anymore. Say he's still Batman until I'm gone or whatever. But like I do define a generation of Batman for us all. And we've had all these, like I was talking about earlier, we've had all these live action iterations in there sprinkled throughout, but the one constant Batman has been Kevin Conroy for 30 years, right? This big old gap.
Yeah.
We had all these other Batman, Ben Affleck and all these characters, Val Kilmer and stuff that were like there in the middle, but the one constant Batman that we always were able to experience and take in and enjoy has been Kevin Conroy. So the community lost we lost a legend today. You know what I'm saying? That goes without. I mean, I'm saying it, but it goes without saying. We lost a legend. We lost somebody who impacted everything that we talk about and consume and that we look at and like and read. This dude was there. You know what I'm saying? So like, shouts out to the family. I hope that they are doing well considering what has taken place in the last 24 hours. His friends, I hope they enjoy it. And to the fans out there, just like us, stay up, guys. You know what I'm saying? It's earth shattering for some of us, and we got some brighter shit ahead, and going forward, hopefully they put out some good shit. You know what I'm saying? Give me some behind the smes, some damn, you know what I'm saying? Some footage we hadn't seen yet of Kevin, man. Let me see some of that stuff now that now that maybe they might have the chance to put something out there that we hadn't seen yet, because I think it's something like this. You always sit there and think, man, at the end of the day, damn, I want some more Kevin, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got a lot, obviously, but now you're really like, damn, is there something out there I hadn't seen yet?
I want more of him.
Yeah,
I have him as Batman. Give me an opportunity to get to know Kevin.
Yes.
I would recommend, and I think I might do it later today. I'm probably going to try and find and download the older episodes of Fat Man on Batman and find the ones that Kevin Conroy was on. Because I know he was on one or two.
Yes.
He was on one or two. So
Yeah.
And those were great.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I did see Kevin Smith's Instagram
Apparently,
post.
Kevin Conroy had a cameo in Yoga Hosers, and I did not know that. Because
I didn't know that either.
He
didn't
did.
know that until I saw the clip, and I was
Oh
like,
yes, yeah. Because
I think that was his son too, wasn't it? Or like in the
Well, in the
movie.
movie,
it was
his
like
name-
Robin
Yeah.
next to him, and
Yeah.
yeah. No, yeah. I think it's probably because I heard Yoga Hosers wasn't that good.
It was just.
Oh, you saw it? Did you saw it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was fine. Like it's
fine.
it was one of those like it's like the same like Tusk. I think it's like in the same universe or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And it was just like a goofy comedy. Like I think Kevin Smith was one of those like Kevin Smith is like, I just want to make this for me. Like
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Because
it's
it was
like
a joint. It was a joint thing with him and his kid, right?
yeah.
His
his
kid
daughter,
star
yeah.
because Harley stars in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. She's the main character, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Which by the way, speaking of emotional, the new Clerks. Woof.
I need to see that.
I need to see that too.
The what?
The new Clerks 3.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a Kevin Smith movie.
Oh, okay.
No, I was Dawson just like looked lost.
I don't know anything about that, but okay.
Oh well,
I
so
wasn't supposed to be here today.
I will say give it a couple weeks because it is very emotional and kind of hits you a couple times that you're not expecting. But
Really?
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
All right.
Well, don't need that after the day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
got all the emotions out today.
Yeah. So look, man, like I said, there were some other things we're going to talk about. I kind of talk about them at a later date, I would suppose. Just considering, this was a good conversation, man. Scott, I'm glad you came on. Dawson, I'm glad you're able to make it. Phil and Joey, you guys are here every Friday. I appreciate you all more than you know. And yeah, it was just a thing, man, where I saw it. I was like, man, it wasn't like I felt the responsibility to talk about it. It was just I wanted to. Like, you know what I mean? Like I saw that happen. I was like, well, I really want to talk about how I feel about what I just read, like on my phone. I was like, oh, it's just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if he was suffering, now he's not. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
that's the one thing I can look at and say he is no longer. If he was really, really sick and he was suffering, he's not now. We are, but you know what? As long as he's not, I don't really care too much. I'll suffer through not missing our Batman for just a bit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he's in a much better place than we are. So
yes, that is for sure. And yeah, man. So real quick, Scott, man, you want to tell everybody where I can find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27. You can find my podcast, the DC Squadcast for Podcast can be found. We're on Vero, Facebook, YouTube with the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com. That does include DC TV Squadcast, which will be recording tomorrow night. Ray and I will be having a memorial recording for Kevin Conroy. So you can check all that out at Squadcast Media. And then, as always, every Sunday night at 9:00 Central over at Film Junkie on YouTube, Dave and I talk about every episode of Batman, the animated series in production order. So we are on to episode 3 of season 2, Trial. And that will be this Sunday night, 9:00 Central.
Nice. Looking forward to it, my friend. Dawson, where can they find you, man?
yeah, on Instagram and TikTok, you can find me at this handle right here, DJW32Art. On Twitter, you can find me at NIMW32, as well as the 4 Nerds Network. Got plenty of things in the works. And you can also check out my website, DJWArt.net.
Nice. And Phil, where can they find you, homie?
That tag right there, Unfiltered, Twitter, Vero, Instagram. You can catch me on the 4 Nerds most Thursdays. You can catch me here on Fridays. You can listen to my podcast, The Eternal Night. I'm actually in the process of editing our latest episode. It's kind of a Thanksgiving-ish, thankful for Batman type of episode. Anyway, yeah, it's going to come out here pretty soon, but we're also going to do another memorial episode for Kevin Conroy, and I believe Dawson and I are working on a memorial episode tomorrow for Kevin Conroy in the same way that this was. So more details on that to come.
Nice. And Joey, where can they find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at JoeBear94, Instagram at Vero, Joey Marino. Sundays on World's Finest, and now Fridays. Hopefully, I can be back here regularly. My hours at work got changed or whatever, so hopefully, I'm back here now.
All right, I appreciate it, man. Like seriously, guys, I appreciate all y'all for coming on here. And yeah, like I said, saw the news earlier. It's like, oh man, this is. You know, and we all deal with it in our different ways, but to come together and be able to have this conversation, I think was pretty cool, man. And hopefully for some, if it's hitting you harder than others, hopefully that this conversation actually helped a bit. And for everybody out there who watched, we appreciate it. I hope you guys, do the same as us, man. And it's something we have to live with going forward. But shouts out to, like I said, Kevin and his family, friends, everybody out there. We love you guys. You guys stay safe, and everybody on the panel, you guys stay safe. Have a great night, and appreciate you guys coming on again. Talk to y'all later, man. Peace out.
Peace.